means.
Well,
We take this we take this class because I've got 3 girls who are doing AP, IB, but their schedule won't permit them to be in the class. So I see them almost never. So we post the videos up to My Big Campus, which is our system here. And at least lets them have a chance to see the class and not participate directly.
say
All right,
hello.
hook 2.
Mr. Curtis.
Yes.
I know I don't ask this a lot, but may I go to the restroom? I really don't ask
You
that a
and
lot.
David have like at least this matters.
Actually, it's in my bladder.
Whoa. Yeah. Oh, tape is up.
Good
Once
job.
again, I'm comfortable with myself.
We're not.
Yeah, I'm really not.
Okay.
This is just going on my campus. It's on YouTube.
I went to school today and then
It's going out to the entire world.
Alright.
Okay, pick it up, and I will tell you, have to get your text, Latin text out as well. We want to kind of skim through as quickly as we can a whole big bunch of lines, 298 through 558 in English. So it's going to start off on page, I want to start off on page 103 of the Latin text. Just kind of pick up sort of where we were before, and then we're going to kind of skim through in English, and of course the homework tonight picks up in Latin 559 and following. When last we left, Aeneas is telling the story to Dido about what? No, Trojan War, specifically what?
The horse.
Well, last night, the horse, the city falling, and so forth. And he says that he himself, like everyone else, was insomnes, back on line 270. He was asleep, and suddenly, Mystissimus Hector visus adesse mihi. Hector seemed to appear, right? And he appeared how?
Like all messed up.
All messed up, right? Just as he was when Achilles had dragged him around the wall, bloody, beard, matted with mud and blood and so forth. And he addresses this gruesome specter in line 281 as O Lux Dardania, light of Troy, space ophidissima trucrum. And he says, basically, what's up with you? Where are you coming from? And so forth. And he says, we're a little bit looking for you. And picking up there in 289, Hector's ghost says, Fuge nate dea. Run. There's no hello, how are you doing? Glad to see you enjoyed the gift of the horse. It's simply fuge. Very first words are fuge, nate deo. You who are born of a goddess. Snatch yourself, his flammis. From these flames, hostis habet muros. 3 of the most terrifying words. The enemies hold the wall. Yeah, the enemy holds the walls. Troy is falling. And he says, and remember we were talking about this, and I realize the whole week has passed because of fall break. But in 291 and following, he says, Si Pergama dexter defendi possent etiam hoc defensa fuissent. We had parsed that, and you may recall that possent and fuissent are both subjunctives, but possent is what? Tense subjunctive. It's imperfect, good, racial, but fuissent is pluperfect. So we've got a mixed condition here. And he says, if Pergamum, of course, Pergamum is what? At the citadel of Troy, basically the heart of Troy. If it were able to be defendi dextra, by somebody's right arm or somebody's right hand, then his ships, to contrary to fact past, it fuissent would have been defensa by hoc, by this right hand. Okay, so obviously this right hand didn't do it because I'm dead, and so obviously there's no hope for you. So get out. And he tells him, take with you what else? All the holy things, the sacra, the penates, household gods, and go ahead and get going. Okay? And that's kind of basically where we're going to pick it up now in the English. Okay, so you should find, does everybody find where you are in your English or particular translation?
Yeah.
Nobody's lost? Okay. Picking it up with diverso interium discenter moenia luctu from the Latin. Go ahead and start us off, Marcus, if you will. But what I will say is, as we read through the English, keep your Latin handy. And if you try to kind of follow along, if you need to turn pages, because we're going to draw things out periodically.
All right.
Marcus.
On every side, meanwhile, the city is in the turmoil of anguish, and more, though my father's Anchises' house lay far withdrawn and screened by trees. Clearer grow the sounds in war's dread din sweeps on. I shake myself from sleep, and, climbing to the roof's topmost height, stand with straining ears. Even as, when fire falls on a cornfield while south winds are raging, or the rushing torrent from a mountain stream lays low the glad crops and labors of oxen and drags down forests headlong, spellbound the bewildered shepherd hears the roar from a rock's lofty peak. Then indeed,
Pause it. Okay. Take a quick glance at the Latin, line 304. Veluti. You heard it in Marcus's translation there, or whatever version he's reading there. Veluti or velut, either one, will introduce what figure of speech? Simile. Very nice. Okay. So he says, hey, you know what? I'm in my father's house, and the sound of the destruction is getting to where we are. And he says, it's just like, and then he does a couple of these comparisons here. Again, I don't know that's it's a comparison that you or I would relate to, right? He compares the fall of Troy with what? Natural disasters, right? Overflowing river, flowing down from the mountain, line 305, Montano Flumine Torrent, and just the rushing of water. Have you ever been around a waterfall?
Yeah. It shades.
Oh, it shades.
Yeah.
Okay. Clifty Falls, another, speaking of Indiana State Parks, Clifty Falls over in the southeast corner by Madison, right on the Ohio River. Several falls within the park here. Have you ever heard a trickle of water? I mean, it's beautiful. That's the most peaceful thing in the world. If you're ever around a waterfall, man, that thing is threatening, particularly if you're close to it. And the sense of that, that's what he compares this with. Keep going. Pick it up where Marcus left off. Let me read for somebody. Doesn't matter.
It's kind of hard to follow.
Then fine.
Then in that moment I knew the truth. The treacherous scheming of the Greeks was there to see. Soon the great house of
Deiphobus.
yielded to the flames and fell in ruins. Soon his neighbor, the Caledon, was burning, and the broad waters of the Strait of Sigeum reflected the flames. The clamor of men put on my armor for reason had. The clamor of men and the clangor of trumpets was high heaven.
Okay, pause there for just a second, and we'll let you continue on. Again, notice we've got. All right, Brenda was talking with me the other day because Brenda's the filmmaker, right? She's gonna make movies. She's gonna make the Aeneid. Notice you've got this, and I can just see this thing, right? I mean, there's the city off in the horizon, burning flames, right? But then you've got these tight shots. He names specific people's houses. You don't care who Caledon is. You don't care about who Deiphobus is. Nobody cares. But the point is, he's made a specific reference, and certainly as a character in his mind's eye, he's remembering this specific. I knew that guy, you know. I knew that guy's house, and so it's falling down in flames. Keep going.
Mindlessly I put on my armor for reason had little use for armor, but my heart was burning to gather comrades for battle and rush to the citadel. Frenzy and anger drove me on, and suddenly it seemed a noble thing to die in.
All right, pause there. When everybody looking at the Latin 313 and following. Arma amens capio. Virgil does like amens. We get this word more than once. If you had to guess what part of speech amenes was, if you didn't know this word, you should guess that it's what part of speech?
Participle.
Present participle. Good. Present participle from what verb? Ama. It's not. Present participle from ama would be
Almonds.
amans with an A. This is amens. It's a compound adjective. It's not participle at all. It's a compound adjective from a and the noun mains. Literally one who is
From.
away from his mains, away from his mind, out of his mind. Okay?
Crazy.
Hence the word mad or insane or something like this. Mindless, right? And I gotta be honest,
It's not us.
I've told you this before, I've very much come to like Aeneas better over the years. And the dude wants to fight. He recognizes that this is pointless. Nexat rationis in arms. There's no reason to put on arms now. He's already been warned by Hector that this is pointless. He sees for himself that the city is ablaze. There's no point in this. But this is what heroes do. This is what heroes do. I mean, I was already thinking about Captain America a minute ago when everybody's seen the movie Captain America, right?
Yeah. Maybe these three haven't, but
Well, who hasn't seen Captain America? Good.
What's wrong with
I haven't seen the Avengers either.
Yeah,
saw the
me
Avengers.
neither.
I saw the
Me neither.
Avengers.
Out.
Oh, thank God.
Grade level administrator out of my classroom. Are you serious?
No,
It's out on
I
Blu-ray.
hear it's really good.
That shit is
It
really good.
is. It's outstanding.
I want to see it a week after.
I don't like action movies that like have jokes in them though.
It's a good.
that takes away half the action
You
movies,
guys know what
though.
I'm talking about. No, you guys know what I'm talking
Expendables.
about.
No,
There you
not
go.
really, but all right.
I like Lord of the Rings, and that's about it.
There's a scene.
But they have jokes.
Listen,
No humor.
listen.
Quiet.
For those of you who have a life and have seen Captain America.
Whoop.
Okay. There's a scene where before he becomes Captain America, Steve Rogers is a scrawny little, 98-pound weakling, and they're trying to see who's going to become America's super soldier and become the Captain America project. And the general decides to test the guys, and he throws a grenade out in the middle of these guys that are all doing their calisthenics and stuff. And every one of these guys just flees. And particularly the big bruiser guy that the general really wants to be in the Captain America thing. And it's little scrawny Steve Rogers who runs toward the thing, covers it with his body.
So he takes the blood.
Now,
It's a dummy
it was a
So he
dummy
dies.
grenade.
Oh.
But the point is, nobody knew that. And so, the hero, and again, this is all throughout literature, right? The hero runs toward the danger, not away from it. And I think in every instance, Aeneas is a true hero. Yeah, he's a little bit more of a thinking man's hero. I think there's a little bit more of the internal and the psychological turmoil with this guy as a character, as opposed to, well, okay, Batman, as opposed to, and I maybe again to speak some other kind of your typical muscle-headed hero, which would be
Hulk.
Achilles. Okay, I don't know that I'd go Achilles all the way to Hulk.
Yeah.
Hulk is
Well, Achilles
pretty
does
much
like
brutal. Just
kill
brutal.
You're right. I mean,
everything.
Achilles fights.
He does.
Killing
He fights the river.
everything.
Like,
Well, that's true. You fight. That's true. That's true. Yes.
Wasn't there a point where, wasn't there a point?
You guys never heard. You guys
And
didn't
during the war,
think of
something
that?
was like a scrap, like,
killing
they couldn't
everything.
figure out what side it was.
That's diabetes.
Achilles.
That's
Oh,
diabetes.
okay.
But still, I think Aeneas is a hero. He runs towards the fight. All he wants to do is get together a monum bello. He wants to get together a band of guys for war. Okay? And guys whose animi are ardent, whose spirits are burning. And notice what it is that's really driving him on. It is furor and it is ira.
Frenzy and anger.
Frenzy, you don't think. This is not one of those moments you go, well, gee, if I go to battle, I'm going to be a hero. But then there's my dad, his house, and maybe I should stay, and I could protect, and put out the fight. You don't think. In these moments, it's furor and ira that drive you. Either you're going to do it or you're not. I mean, it's pure emotion, raw stuff. Eke! Autem telis ponthos elapsus equium. Pick it up there. Rachel.
But now, behold, Pantheus escaped from Grecian spears. Pantheus
little grandson by the hand, and wildly
Amens again.
threshold bends his steps.
Keep going, turn the page in your text, page 106, keep going.
What fortune, Canthus, on what citadel do we now size? I scarce have said the words, when mourning deeply, heed this anger made. Our last day comes, the inevitable hour of Troy. We are Trojans no more. Gone now is Troy and all our glory. Cruel Jove now transfers the imperial rule to Argos. Over all the burning town the Greeks hold sway. The towering house stands in the city's mists, and pours out armed men. Cimon himself, exulting, spreads the flames, and others throng the open gates, as many thousands come as ever from mighty Greece. Others oppose our ranks, and barricade the narrow streets. The gleaming swords are drawn for death's dread work prepared. The foremost wardens of the gates scarce risk a contest with blind resistance. Fired by his words and by
Okay, pause there. If you're turning to page 106, 107 in the Latin text. So here comes this priest, he's running along, he's got his grandson by his hand, he's carrying a few statues and things, and he's running along, and Aeneas says, hey, where are you going? What's going on here? And Panthus says, you know, it's over, dude. I mean, they're swarming through the gates, everything's in fire. And look at top of 107, line 335. He says, the few people, the front guards who are out there actually trying to do something, he says, Caeco Marte resistunt. He says, the front guards, the city guards, are resistant with Marte Caeco, with Mars being blind. There is just war all over, and it's almost as if Mars himself doesn't even see. Mars himself is just going crazy, and there's a few guys trying to stop this madness. Pick it up there at the end of Panthus's quotation, new reader if we can. If you saw where Rachel stopped.
Spurred by Panthus' words and the god's will, into the blaze I dive, into the fray, whatever the din of combat breaks and war cries, wherever the din of combat breaks and war cries fill the sky, wherever the battle fury drives me on, and now I'm joined by Ripheus, Ephitus, mighty in armor, rearing up in the moonlight. Hippanus comes to my side, and Dymas too, flanked by the young Coroebus, Langton's son. Late in the day, he chanced to come to Troy, incensed with a mad burning love for Cassandra, son-in-law to our king. He would rescue Troy, poor man, if only he'd marked his bride's inspired ravings. Seeing their close-packed ranks hot for battle, I spur them on their way. Men, brave hearts, though bravery cannot save us.
Top of page 108.
If you're bent on following me and risking all to face the worst, look around you. See how our chances stand. The gods who shored our empire have left us. All have deserted their altars and their shrines. You race to defend a city already lost in flames. But let us die. Go plunging into the thick of battle. One hope saves the defeated. They know they can't be saved.
Pause there. Okay, I want everybody looking at the text in 350 and following on top of page 108. Go back to second year for a moment. Do you remember the poem Horatius at the Bridge? You wouldn't because you weren't here with us. You do. You weren't here with us in second year, were you? Were you in second year?
I still have it.
Okay, but Rachel and Christian were not there with us. Okay. Remember that, the Macaulay poem, the famous line, you know, so the Etruscans are coming, right? And they got to chop down this bridge, and he says, you know, who will stand on my right hand and keep the bridge with me? This notion of one leader who's going to rally a few folks for this impossible cause. And he doesn't sugarcoat it either. Horatius and the guys know that, you know, well, as he says, in yon straight path 1,000 may well be stopped by 3. They know they're grossly outnumbered. Did we, in your second year class, do the Cato play
Yeah.
by Addison?
Yeah,
We did, okay, that was the first year I did it. I don't know how much you remember of that, but when, you remember Juba?
I remember a lot just because like we had like parts that we all like,
Right.
We kept fighting over the Menars.
When Caesar had come over and fought against Pompey at Pharsalus and defeated Pompey, of course Pompey then flees to Egypt and is beheaded. Cato is the guy who picks up the remainder of the Pompeian or the senatorial forces and is making his way across northern Africa. And it's brought out very well in the play by Addison. He makes no pretense about what they're up against. He's like, guys, we're facing burning deserts. You're not going to get anything to drink. There are poisonous asps, snakes all across the desert. There are scorpions. There's all this kind of stuff. Caesar's got more people, all this kind of stuff. Now, you're welcome to go home if you want to. But it's kind of one of these, as for me and my house, we're going to go fight. And that's the same thing that Aeneas does here. It is very, very stirring. Sometimes when all seems lost, that's when you can encourage people the most. And in fact, he says it right there, that this was wonderful line. Line 353. Moriam et in media arma ruamus. Let us die and let us rush into the middle of arms. Now, first of all, if we talk about hysteron proteron, here's another example of hysteron proteron. Harrison Bergeron, right? Hysteron proteron, where technically the action is out of order, right? Moriamer at media in arma ruamus. Let us die and rush into arms. It's kind of the other way, doesn't it? Because you're already dead, you're not rushing anywhere. Right, so literally it's let's rush into arms and die, but again, kind of the whole idea is in the excitement of the moment, even he gets his verbs kind of twisted around. Think about 300, okay, which for all the caricature stuff and the comic stuff, is so much in so many ways based on Herodotus' account of Thermopylae. They talk about the notion of an honorable death. And we're not going to get off on that. We talked about it in the second year, but I don't know that we even have that concept. And certainly among civilians, I don't know if we have that concept. But the notion of, most of us want to cling to life as, we're all Dylan Thomas people. You got it, Caitlin. What was the reference? What was the reference?
Do not go. Do not go playing.
Do not. He writes this beautiful poem. It's called Villanelle, about the death of his father. His father's dying, and he says, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against the dying of the light." He's saying, "Father, I don't want you to die. Fight against this." And most of us have that real self-preservation, the instinct, right? But these warrior cultures, man, it's the opposite. There's this notion, look, I'm going to die anyhow. I want to die an honorable death. And I'd rather die in the midst of the weapons. Go back to the beginning of book 1. What was Aeneas' complaint? Quaterque beati, right? 3 and 4 times blessed were the guys who got to do what?
Die.
Who got to die ante ora patrum,
For their fatherland.
before the faces of their fathers. And so he says to the guys, now let's go in here and die. Yeah.
I've always said this thing, like, it's the honorable death, less of a death and more of like their way of cementing themselves, like, kind of everlasting life, like in the memories of other people.
Yeah, absolutely. This is all tied up into the notion of memory. Notice how notice how the talking about Juno being mindful of her, the injustices done to her. The whole issues of memory throughout this whole poem have been really prominent. And so, how you remembered after your life, dignitas, are you worthy of being remembered and having stories told about you, good or bad? And so absolutely, I think it's part of it. Okay, pick it up there, new reader.
The desperate odds doubled their fighting spirit. From that time on, like predatory wolves in fog and darkness, when a savage hunger drives them blindly on, and cubs in lairs lie waiting with dry famished jaws, just so through arrow flights and enemies we ran toward our sure death. Straight for the city's heart, cavernous black night over and around us. Who can describe the havoc of the night, or tell the deaths, or tally wounds with tears? The ancient city falls after dominion many long years. In windrows on the streets, in homes, on solemn porches of the gods, dead bodies lie. And not alone the Trojans paid the price with their heart's blood. At times manhood returns to the fire, even the conquered and Danaan conquerors all fall. Grief everywhere terror, and all shapes of death.
Okay. They're compared with what? Wolves. Hungry wolves. That's how Aeneas and his little group are. They're like hungry wolves now going throughout the city. Again, pretty fair stuff, I think. I think that line 370 or 369 is absolutely terrifying. Crudelis luctus. Ubique Pablo. Cruel grieving and fear everywhere, and this incredible image of death. Pick it up there. 370 and following. Go.
Androgeus.
Yes. Now, this is important. All right, we're actually going to take notes on this thing about Androgeus. Okay, it's going to be an important guy. Read on.
Okay, Androgeus with his large troop was the first Greek to meet us. He mistook us for allies and shouted out in this congenial way, "Hurry, men! What's this dragging of your feet? Why hold back? All the rest are plundering Troy's flames. Did you just come from your tall ships?" No reassuring answers came to him. Right then he knew he'd fallen among enemies. Stunned, he retreated with his words and us, like someone on a brambly path who treads on a hidden snake and backs away in terror. When the blue swollen neck erect in rage, Androgynous backed up, trembling when he saw us. We swarmed around them with our weapons, scattered, and killed them. They were panicked in their strange place. So fortune blessed our first endeavor.
Pause there. It's line 385 on page 110 is where we are in the ladder. Okay, so this guy Androgeus, this is very important. So here comes Androgeus. It's nighttime, all right? Other than the fire is burning, you can't really see very well. This Greek guy Androgeus sees this band of warriors coming walking through the streets. He says, "Hey guys,
What's up?
what's up?" You know, he says, "Did you just guys get off the ship?" Because he's thinking they were from the Tenedos group, you know, the Greeks, and no response. At that point, I think Androgeus has to have the worst sinking feeling.
Oh.
And just maybe, I don't know, if some firelight kind of passed over and he saw these guys like, it's not Greek armor. And man, he starts backing up like he has done what?
Stepped on a
Like he
snake.
stepped on a snake. It's like, ah, you're Trojan. And he jumps back, and immediately the Trojan guys just surround him and kill him. And his little group of guys, they just slaughter this dude. But something good comes out of this. Read on. Read on. We're getting a quotation from Coroebus. Coroebus here in 386 and following. Somebody, I don't care who.
Killer.
Somebody just jump on him.
You've been volunteered.
Fortune favors our first effort, and here, flushed with success and courage, Coroebus cries, "Comrades, where fortune first points out the road to safety and where she knows herself auspicious, let us follow. Let us change the shields and don Danaan emblems. Whether this is deceit or valor, who would ask in warfare? Our foes themselves shall give us weapons." So saying, he then puts on the plumed helmet of Androgeus, and the shield with its comely device, and fits to his side the Argive sword.
Pause there. So now the Trojans are going, wait a minute. If this guy thought we were Greeks when we were in our own gear, imagine the damage we could do if we take the stuff off their dead bodies and go walking around and look like Greeks. What a brilliant idea. And it's Coroebus who comes up with this idea. Now, line 390. Dolus on virtus quis in hoste require. This is, it's come down to us, there's an old saying in English, all's fair in love and war. You may have heard that old saying, all is fair in love and war. Dolus on virtus, trickery or courage. Who cares?
It's war.
It's war. Who cares when you're fighting the enemy? Now, in some ways, I almost find that a little bit at odds with this heroic death thing. Because on the one hand, there's supposed to be an honorable way to fight and all this kind of stuff, and this guy's going,
Screw
cares?
that.
Yeah, but that's a cool trick. It's not
no, admittedly, it's a pretty cool trick. And also, they know this is a doomed endeavor. Okay, this is not Achilles and Hector one-on-one out on the field. We want to have a real fair fight, so we can really tell who's the winner or something like this. Like this is a doomed effort anyhow. They just want to kill as many Greeks as they can.
And bring as many of them down to.
Bring as many of them down. Yeah, exactly. You're taking us down. We're going to take as many of you with us as we can. Okay, so they do that, and then we're going to skip on just a little bit here. Here comes Cassandra. Find something around what would be in the Latin, line 503. Ecce trahebatur passes Primaia virgo crinibus. Behold, the maiden daughter of Priam was being dragged along, by her hair. Find something about that. It's Cassandra. Go ahead, Danielle.
When gods are contrary, they stand by no one. Here before us, Cassandra, Priam's virgin daughter, dragged by her long hair out of Minerva's shrine, lifting her brilliant eyes in vain to heaven, her eyes alone, as her white hands were bound. Coroebus, infuriated, could not bear it. He plunged into the midst to find his death.
And there's that same guy, Coroebus. Right? So he sees Cassandra, sees her being dragged by her hair, obviously by the Greeks, and this guy goes, "Oh, I can't let that happen." And this guy just goes, boom, and he's going to die, but he's going to run in trying to save him. Keep going.
We all went after him, our swords at play. But here first, from the temple's gables height, we met a hail of missiles from our friends, pitiful execution by their error, who thought us Greek from our Greek plumes and shields. Then with a groan of anger, seeing the virgin wrested from them, the Aeneans from all sides rallied and attacked us. Fiery Ajax, Atreus' son, the Lopians, in a mass. As when a cyclone breaks, conflicting winds will come together. West wind, south wind.
All right, pause there. That's enough. All right, so we got lots of more slaughter, and as much as I'd love to read slaughter, we're gonna just rush over it and say, okay, there's slaughter, and the slaughter goes on through. It really goes on through the mid-400s, and I want to pick it up in 469 in the Latin. So actually get over to the Latin. It's on page 116. I'm mad at AP for taking this passage out. It used to be in the syllabus, and we used to read it in class, and now we don't get to, but by golly, we're gonna. This is good.
Yeah.
Okay?
America.
Not in the
There's all this slaughters going on, and now Aeneas sees one particular scene. Again, we move to this very particular scene, and he sees this guy named Pyrrhus. All right, Pyrrhus is the son of Achilles. Okay, and Pyrrhus goes by the name Neoptolemus also. Okay, Pyrrhus or Neoptolemus. There was a junior spec years ago. The title of the spec was Sport. Those spoons with you get a picnic. Sport. That was the name of the spec. And I'll never forget this, but I'll die remembering this. One of the main characters in this spec act was a girl character. Her name was Katrina Mocha Latte Dippin' Dots Chai. Pause, but you can call me Fiona. She had this ridiculous long name, and then there's this other name. And I don't know what it is, because I've always thought about that with all these Greeks. Got a dude named Pyrrhus, but you can also call me Neoptolemus. You go, what? It's not even close. I mean, what, that's Jack, John, I get that a little bit, okay? All right, even Elizabeth to Betsy, maybe. But
Robert
Pyrrhus to
to Bob.
Neoptolemus, not so much. So anyhow, here's Pyrrhus. And I want everybody to look at the text. He was standing right on the very limine, on the very threshold of Priam's palace. This is bad. This is the son of the great Greek. And he's right at the entrance to Priam's palace. This is where you would never want the Greeks to be. And he is exultat teles. He is prancing around. Exultat is, look at me. I'm a tough dude. And he's exultant in his teles, in his weapons. And he is koruskas. He's shining with aina luke, with bronze light. I mean, this is Mighty Mouse, right? Dun da da, chest is out, and hair, blowing the cape and everything. That's this. Okay? And he compares him to a snake, a Kalubear, who has just shed his skin and all looks kind of slimy and glistening. And of course, we know snakes really aren't, but anyhow, but they look that way, and he says, that's what it looked like. Okay? And, oh no! 479, we'll pick it up there tomorrow.
What a day.